Hello, and welcome to the online information session for returning judges for the 2018 ICC. My name is Jesse Prent, and I'm responsible for judges, cases, and events. Before we get into the changes for this year, I'd just like to recognize our board of directors. It's with their continued support and guidance that each year's new organizing team is able to make the ICC a success. And here is the 2018 NBA ICC organizing team. Remember our faces because you will be needing us during the competition. Of particular note this year is for the first time, the ICC has a theme. The theme of this year's competition is business ownership. All of the cases in the competition will be from the perspective of the business owner or about different kinds of ownership models. Like last year, the venue for the competition will be Hotel Bonaventure. You can see a schedule of events on the right, and you can also refer to our website at mbacasecomp.com for the schedule. Just a quick review, the lead judge's role is to review the sequence of activities and judging procedures with the panel during preparation. They will chair the Q&A session, and during deliberation, they'll initiate the discussion, they'll manage the time throughout the hour of deliberation, and they will complete and submit the online evaluation form. We have several do's and don'ts based on the feedback that we've received from coaches, from judges, and from participants. The introductions should be kept short, just your name, your position, and company. During the presentation, please listen attentively, be open-minded as we have participants from all over the world. We need to be culturally sensitive, and make sure to take notes for comments and questions during the Q&A session. Please do not interrupt the teams as they are presenting, as you will have plenty of time to give feedback and questions during the Q&A period and on the evaluation form. When you ask questions, please be as clear and concise as possible. Do not get into a debate with the teams, as everybody needs to have an opportunity to ask a question. During the deliberation period, please support your decisions with concrete examples from their presentation. Consider other possible alternatives. And this year, we would like judges to try to identify potential lead judges for next year and inform myself, Jesse Prent, or Carolyn Corville, or any of the board members or other organizing members of the team of your recommendation. A verbal recommendation goes a long way. And finally, during evaluation, please provide detailed commentary and constructive criticism to the teams. The most important thing for the teams in order to improve throughout the competition is the written feedback. Now, the big news this year is that our evaluation and feedback form has changed. Previously, the form had too many overlapping categories, some of which weren't properly understood. There was score inflation in some categories, like presentation, which made differentiation between the teams more difficult. All categories were given equal weight, which we don't think is entirely fair, as some categories, especially implementation, present a greater challenge to the teams. And finally, we wanted to have a way to link the evaluation form to the match point distribution. So the changes are as follows. We went from 14 categories to 5 comprehensive categories that you will assign a score from 1 to 10 to. The categories now each carry a certain amount of weight based on their importance in the overall content of the presentation and the challenge they present to the students. The differential between the team's cumulative scores on their evaluation form is now used to assign the 11 match points. And this gives us a quantifiable reason for choosing one team over another. These are the 5 team evaluation criteria. We have presentation, which is everything from aesthetics to professionalism, how consistent they were in assuming the role that they chose to assume. With analysis and development of alternatives, we're looking at, did the team understand the issues confronting the company? Do they understand the causes of those issues? And did they use their analysis to develop viable alternatives? Recommendation, How viable is the recommendation? Is it the best choice of the alternatives? Is it informed by the analysis? Implementation. How viable is the implementation? How detailed is it, financially or otherwise? And how well does the implementation plan tie back into the recommendation? And finally, during the question period, are the answers kept succinct, and how well do they, again, tie back into the recommendation? Now, you will be assigning a score from 1 to 10 to each team in each of these categories. The online system will apply a weight multiplier to each of those scores. If you were to assign a score of 10 in each category to a team, once the weights would be applied, it would equal a total score of 100. So what you will end up with after scoring each individual team are 2 cumulative scores on a scale of 1 to 100. Once you have those 2 cumulative scores, it is the difference between those 2 scores that determines how many match points each team receives. Just as a quick example, in this case, Team A has received scores of 8, 6, 7, 6, and 8 in these respective categories. The online system has applied the multipliers, resulting in a cumulative score of 67.5. Team B has been assigned 6, 7, 9, 7, 6. The multipliers have been applied, ends up with a final cumulative score of 72.5. The difference between these 2 teams' cumulative scores is 5 points. Based on this, it falls under the first category, a 5-point or less differential, which means that 6 match points are awarded to the winning team and 5 match points are awarded to the losing team. Just as one more example, in this case, the team has been awarded a cumulative score of 59.5 for Team A and 75.5 for Team B, resulting in a score differential between their cumulative scores of 16 points. If we look back up here, this falls under 15.5 to 25-point differential, which means that 9 match points go to the winning team and 2 match points go to the losing team. In the case of a tie, the first tiebreaker is the highest score in implementation. If the teams are still tied, if their cumulative score is tied and they are tied in implementation, then the next tiebreaker is the highest score in recommendation. Then the next tiebreaker is analysis and development of alternatives, then question period. Basically, in descending order of weight, that is how the tiebreakers are determined. Once all of this information has been input into the online evaluation form, the usual bonus points will be applied. That means that the winning team will receive an additional 30 points. In the case of a 5-6 split, as in this example, the winning team would receive an additional 20 bonus points, while the losing team would receive an additional 10 bonus points. Here is a quick overview of the new online evaluation form. As in previous years, the judging panel will receive a login sheet in their packet which has a unique username and password. You will go to the website listed here, put in your login details, and press the login button. At this point, you will be brought to the online evaluation form. The first thing to do is verify that the names of the judges in the top left are accurate. If any of them need to be changed, just click on the name and change it. There are the 5 categories listed on the left with a brief description of each. You are required to select a score and to write in comments for each of these categories for each team. You will notice as you go along that the weight of the categories that have extra weight, which is every category except presentation, will be automatically applied here. So you can see I've assigned a score of 5, and it applies the 2x multiplier to equal 10. You'll go through and assign the scores for each team. Right now, I'm going to show you what happens when the teams are in a deadlocked tie, which is extremely unlikely, but just to show as an example. Again, please put very detailed comments, a lot more than one word like I'm doing right now. Now, at the bottom, what you'll see in real time is the cumulative scores of each team, as well as normally the match point distribution based on the current cumulative scores. In the case of a deadlock tie, where the teams are tied in every single category individually, you must select the match point for Team 1 manually. It will either be 5 or 6. It will be up to the lead judge to decide which team wins if the panel cannot come to a consensus and the teams are tied in cumulative scores. If Team 1 should win the match, then they will be given 6 points, and Team 2 will automatically be given 5. The team that is in green is the winning team of that match. In the event that the scores are different, I'll just change a few here to show as an example. Here, they are just off by a couple of points. 6 to 5 will automatically be calculated. Here, 9 to 2. This is because of the differential between 75.5 and 58. So the system will automatically calculate the cumulative scores of each based on your 1 to 10 scores for the individual categories, as well as the match point distribution. At that point, you can press review. You will see at the top the winning team and the losing team with the match point distribution of each. This is just a summary of everything from the previous page. Once you've confirmed that everything is correct, you can press submit. If you need to change anything, you can press modify. It'll bring you back to the original page. You can make any changes that you deem necessary. Check that the scores are correct at the bottom. Go back to the review page. And finally, when you're happy with it, you press submit. It'll ask for one final confirmation. You'll say yes. And this screen will pop up with the option to print. This is our backup sheet that will be printed in the control room. Please print this just in case something for some reason goes wrong. This is our backup. And that is all you need to do on the online evaluation form. Make sure that when you fill out the evaluation form, that if the team presented in French, that you give your comments in French. The comments are the most important part. The scores are important to determine the match points and to determine the divisional rankings, but it is the comments that are the most useful to the coaches and to the students so they can improve throughout the competition. We also have 3 additional mandatory questions. These are very similar to what they have been in the past. What did the team do particularly well? What might the team have done better? And finally, where did the team succeed or fall short when compared with the opposing team? This third question in the past was phrased, what was the reason for the panel's decision? But we got too many answers that just said, well, the other team was better. We expect that phrasing the question this way will encourage more thoughtful and constructive responses. Finally, I'd just like to say that we are counting on you. If for some reason you're not able to make your scheduled case, please let us know as soon as possible. We have 10 to 15 judges each case that typically don't show up, and then we're left scrambling trying to call judges to come in. We don't have backup judges on site. So please let us know as soon as possible if for some reason you're not able to make it. Those that don't show up without any advance explanation will not be invited back next year. Lastly, I'd like to invite all of the judges to the networking cocktail on Thursday, January 4th from 6 o'clock p.m. to 9 p.m. This is going to be held in Hotel Bonaventure's ballroom. There'll be wine and cheese, and it's a great opportunity for you to mingle with the sponsors, the participants, the volunteers, and of course, your fellow judges. So we hope to see you there. And that just about wraps it up. If you have any questions, you can contact myself, Jesse Prent, at jesse.prent@mbacasecomp.com, or Carolyn Corville at carolyn.corville@mbacasecomp.com. And we look forward to seeing you in January. Have a great holiday.